Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts, and this is a special episode, and the dinosaur that's been chosen for this special episode is Pachyrhinosaurus. And, and basically Pachyrhinosaurus means thick-nosed lizard in Latin, and the reason why is because it's got that very lumpy mass at its snout, and basically 20 feet long. Weighs around 2 to 3 tons. Of course, herbivore. It's a ceratopsian, which is a horned dinosaur. And basically, and everybody knows Pachyrhinosaurus from the most recent dinosaur movie called The Walking with Dinosaurs movie. And I did see this film and basically last year, and to me, I didn't like the film that much. It's because I didn't like it because of the dialogue. I didn't like the dialogue with the animal, with basically kind of making it too much of a kids movie. Trying to think like that the kids would enjoy, the family and the kids would enjoy more of talking dinosaurs instead of actually like present it like it is in the BBC documentary television show, the original Walking with Dinosaurs, which is basically what I grew up on, and I'm a fan of that show, and I think it's just a brilliant show to begin with, and to turn it into a kind of into a direction where they wanted to kind of make it more of too much of a kids movie. I think it kind of threw a lot of dinosaur fans off, like myself, But even though I think probably since that this coming year in 2015, Jurassic World comes out, and that would actually, hopefully, that actually turns out to be a lot better than what a lot of people would expect. And I would love to see Dinosaur 13 though, but hey, what can I do? And anyway, back to Pachyrhinosaurus. Pachyrhinosaurus lived around 70 million years ago, which is around the late Cretaceous. Its fossils have been found in Montana, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and even in Alaska. And that what actually tells us is basically that Pachyrhinosaurus was more of a northern dinosaur. Basically, it lived during the colder months in like Alaska, northern parts of Canada, and then basically lived in the areas where it's a bit warmer, like in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Montana. And so Pachyrhinosaurus is basically not a very bright dinosaur when it comes to intellect in terms of the dinosaur world. Ceratopsians were not really very bright dinosaurs. They were actually more instinctual. They relied on instinct more than brain power, and so they didn't really have that ability to actually, if you put a Pachyrhinosaurus in front of a brick wall, and basically you think it's like, oh, it's gonna figure it out. It should go around the wall. It's basically what it's actually gonna do is just gonna look at the wall and think like, what is this thing? I don't understand this thing. Should I hit it? Should I go around it? Should I actually do something like that? They're more of a hit first, ask questions later kind of animal. So basically, they just hit something, and then basically they don't really kind of think about it that much. And basically, with all ceratopsians mostly, their skulls are very thick. They have very thick skulls, basically around the brain case area, and basically the brain case area is very solid, and so that actually indicates that they actually might actually have to be able to have a heavy impact. But with some ceratopsians, this includes Pachyrhinosaurus, these ceratopsians actually have holes in the frill, giant holes in the frill. These are not really designed for defense. If they were designed for defense, they would actually be very bony, there would be solid bone, like Triceratops, and just basically Triceratops. And Triceratops is more of the thick, bony frill, where it's actually more designed, a little bit more designed for defense. And it's basically the reason why is because Tyrannosaurus Rex, and Tyrannosaurus Rex was the most powerful and the top predator during that time. But with Pachyrhinosaurus, you actually had different kinds of predators. You had Daspletosaurus, you had Albertosaurus, you had Gorgosaurus. Those were the animals those were the predators that were actually pretty much trying to take down Pachyrhinosaurus. And Tyrannosaurs were the #1 enemy for Pachyrhinosaurus. Daspletosaurus would probably hunt the ceratopsians a lot more than Albertosaurus or Gorgosaurus, but we do find on occasion that we find like Albertosaurus, Gorgosaurus, and Daspletosaurus teeth near the bone beds of where we find Pachyrhinosaurus. One bone bed in particular, which is basically in north-central Alberta, is actually called Pipestone Creek Bone Bed, and basically that is actually a bone bed where it's actually a herd of Pachyrhinosaurus washed up together. And there is great amount of evidence that is actually left in this fossil site, especially pathologies, basically damage on bone, like broken bones, disease, and all that kind of stuff, that are found on bones. But basically there are broken bones and also bite marks on some of the bones. Now, the evidence actually supports that the Pachyrhinosaurus were actually washed up in an enormous flood. But they were not killed by Tyrannosaurs. They were actually killed by panic and actually just washed up into, and actually just basically tried to swim through a river. And basically, when you actually have a bunch of animals all packed in a river together, in a flooding river, it causes problems. And basically, they can trip each other. They could actually kind of jump over on top of each other and basically let one or two members of the herd drown, and that actually causes a huge amount of problems. So basically, most of the herd actually died. It wasn't the entire herd, like we actually know and most of us dinosaur fans actually know is the TV show from History Channel back in 2007, Jurassic Fight Club, which is basically the Albertosaurus versus the Pachyrhinosaurus fight. And what they actually kind of did was actually kind of dramatized a little bit of like how the scientists actually found the site, and also how they actually put this into perspective for the public to understand. And they said that the entire herd drowned. I don't say the entire herd drowned. I would actually say like some members managed to escape, but it was just mainly more probably like say maybe 50% of the herd actually probably died. It pretty much died off in that catastrophe. But most ceratopsian bone beds actually do present catastrophes. That's what we've seen. Like Centrosaurus was a herd of Centrosaurus, a ceratopsian that lived during the same time as Pachyrhinosaurus, that has actually been found in basically near Dinosaur Provincial Park. And there's many others. There's many others that are actually around there. I just can't picture one. But Pachyrhinosaurus, but also with that that really lumpy mass on that snout, it's still up for debate. We don't know what really is the feature for that part of the face of Pachyrhinosaurus. And basically, some Pachyrhinosaurus specimens actually do have a very distinct kind of part of that lumpy mass. It's actually kind of like an oval-shaped or eyeball-shaped mass, and actually is ridged, called a boss. And basically, some scientists believe that it's actually basically like a keratin-like horn, probably actually actually filled in that space. But not all scientists agree with this. Some scientists say it's just probably just a lumpy keratin mass that's just right on the nose to actually kind of give Pachyrhinosaurus more of like a thick and tougher face. And basically ceratopsians use their heads more for display than actually for defense mostly. And so that's what their number one use for their heads are, is basically for visual display. And that's what those frills and all those oddball shapes of the bone of the skull are for number one. Defense is secondary, so that's basically what it is. And with Pachyrhinosaurus and most ceratopsians, their frills were probably brightly colored. So, like say the males, when they actually advertised to females, they would flush blood into their frills and basically kind of give like this a very bright colored kind of pattern on their frills to actually show off the male showing off the females. I'm a healthy male. I'm ready to mate. That kind of thing. But also males, when they actually try to fight for basically like leadership of the herd and also for mates, is basically that's when they actually really start to show some of their colors, is basically flush blood into the frills to actually show off who is the brighter male and also who's the toughest and actually the most healthiest male. And that's what is really what they're really designed for. And sometimes they'll actually go physical, which is basically they'll headbutt each other, but mainly it's just a push and shove match. They do have injuries on the skull and the neck on ceratopsians of showing that probably males were actually competing very viciously with each other to actually for territory and for mates. Now, they wouldn't actually totally kill each other, though. They would actually just one would probably have an injury that could actually kind of cause that male to actually not be able to compete in the next challenge. And basically that would actually kind of hurt that male's chances. And so with Pachyrhinosaurus, very slow moving ceratopsian, all walked on all fours, never actually was a two-legged animal. It was basically very heavily built, and so it was actually kind of built like a Mack truck. So it was basically like a really powerful truck, you know. So that's why I characterize ceratopsians, is that they were like Mack trucks. Is basically they are very tough. They actually are very heavily built, and also they can stand their ground against any kind of predator, and especially Tyrannosaurs were actually the number one enemy. But basically, they actually did live in a herd. There were probably some ceratopsians that probably actually lived not very social lives either. Like there's some speculation whether or not Torosaurus and Triceratops actually probably lived solo. Some males actually lived solo, and some females probably lived in small groups and that kind of stuff, you know. But we never know. I mean, because that's always going to be a question. But there's been multiple multiple specimens, but of Triceratops in one spot. But that's always up for debate. And so for the extinction of Pachyrhinosaurus is basically this. Climate really changed during 70 million years ago. And the reason why is because the climate was actually getting warmer. And you see, in the end of the Cretaceous, basically from 66 to 65 million years ago, it is actually when the climate actually got warmer. And basically dinosaurs that were suited for more cooler environments pretty much kind of actually didn't survive very well. And that's because whoever were the toughest animals around actually were able to adapt to the warming temperatures. And also, when you actually look at this, the ceratopsians were actually evolving into a tougher kind of breed, and that became Triceratops. And basically, Torosaurus actually evolved during the late Cretaceous, but basically was not as tough as Triceratops. And also, the predators at that time were also getting bigger and tougher and want to take down the more tougher animals. And basically, with the Tyrannosaurus, it ended up being my all-time favorite dinosaur, Tyrannosaurus Rex. And so, and basically the food actually kind of changed too, because once the climate gets warmer, plants change into an adaptation to actually suit for the warming environment. And so Pachyrhinosaurus will actually be famous for the Walking with Dinosaurs movie, and also in Jurassic Fight Club and Dinosaur George. Love that show. I love it. And keep up with the good work there, buddy. And that's it for now. And now there will be an Answering Questions episode later on, but it won't be until in September. So there won't be a new episode. The Answer Questions episode won't happen until September, the first weekend of September. So that would actually be at basically the 6th of December. So that would actually happen. But basically this coming weekend, I gotta move in I'm gonna move back into college, and as you can see, this is not my dorm room right here. This is actually my actual room in my hometown, and I'll be going back to school this coming weekend, which is basically the 31st of August, 2014, and basically I would actually be going for my second year in this 4-year school in the University of Wisconsin system, and I'm in a smaller college in the University of Wisconsin system. But anyway, if you do have a question about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life, feel free to email me at dinocris71@gmail.com, and also you can post the questions on Facebook, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Both of them are open 24/7. You can actually send an email or a post in the comments section on Facebook anytime, and that's basically, I can read it, and then I can actually present it in the next Answering Questions episode. You can also follow me on Twitter at CSGRALL, and also take care of the people around you. And also for you younger people out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. Those are the best motivation you can have for a good education. It's very important to have a good education. With a good education, you get a good job in the future. Alright, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys in September.